is an ArseBrothers production. Follow us on Twitter @the ArseBrothers. Get all our content on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, and SoundCloud @ArseBros. And if you like what you hear, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. Wait, hey, welcome. I'm pretty tired. My baby has teeth now, which means she cries every 2 hours, which means my life and my soul hurts. And Darren's a cunt and insists on making me host. So therefore, it's going to be, one of those episodes where I sort of ramble my way through it. Scunny's in a great mood. He got an adult cuddle, which is really nice because he wrote a really nice, oh, I love you, my wife. Happy birthday on this special day, or it was an anniversary. I don't know. I didn't really read the content. I was too busy writing the trolling message underneath to understand the content of what it was written about. But he's in a good mood. I've got coffee. Arsenal is shit. The name of this podcast is It's All Gone Fucky. But my question is, was it ever unfucked? Has it all been a lie? Has this been like a toxic fucking relationship where, you think the other person is supportive of you, and then, you're telling all your friends oh, she's really nice. And your friend's like, we're not sure about that cunt. And you're like, no, she's really nice. She really fucking looks after me. And then guess what? She sucks your friend's dick. She fucking gives an adult kiss to your friend's dick. And I fucking feel like that's what Arsenal have done, right? They've held our hand. We went to a movie. Mikel Arteta was like, oh, let's go out for tapas. Right? Let me take you out for tapas and dancing. Do you want some fucking... Do you want some Rioja? Oh, guess what? Fuck you. I'm going to take another man's dick in my mouth. Anyone?
No.
Mate, she's slurping on fucking sangria. That's what she's doing. Big time. Slurping on sangria. 24/7.
Scunny, we're our friends, right? We're our friends, right, Scunny? Is Arsenal no good for us? Should we have given her the flick when we first smelled the scent of another man's dick on her breath?
Do you know what?
Yeah.
This podcast has started so low. I'm going to try and bring it back up. You two are having a list, you, Scally. I don't even know what your opinion is, but I'm not sitting here tonight.
I'm with Max on this one. I'm sorry, Darren. I'm jumping in quick. I'm on Max with this one. We're getting fucking sloppy seconds. That's what we're getting right now.
We are.
What did you expect in this project? What did you expect? Do you expect us to win every fucking game? Do you expect us
I expected us
to win the title?
I expected us to have a one dick misses.
I expected us to have a bit of balls, if I'm being honest. At least one testicle. It's just, at the minute now, it's like they've got them right here or something like that, and you're just being squished tightly, ever so tightly, every other game, and then it'll release a little bit, and then it'll go again, it'll go tighter. Darren's like, what the fuck are you two talking about?
I don't understand. I really don't get you. I really, really, really don't understand the outrage this week. I really don't get it. I even went on Twitter and had a little read just to see if the comments that I'm getting in the pub and from my mates and that are the same as they're online, and they are. They're worse. I just don't really understand where you're coming from. I really, really don't. We said at the start of the season this was going to be a difficult year. We had lots of players we didn't want, and we got rid of a lot of them. Not all of them, but a lot of them. We made a plan to bring in some kids, and we were hoping that if 70% of those kids turn out to be great, then we've got a foundation to build something. But I don't understand when we've just played 2 games in a week and we've lost back-to-back away games, one against Manchester United, once against Everton. And suddenly, we weren't, this wasn't Man City, this wasn't Chelsea, Liverpool, where we were played up the park. These are games that we should have won. That's where the disappointment should be. We were as good as Manchester United, if not better. We were as good as Everton, if not better. And the disappointing thing is that we didn't turn those 2 games into 2 victories, because that's the frustration and the despair, because we We know when we look at that team, it's better than those teams. And at spells in both games, we were much, much better than those teams.
We was good in the first. I'd say we was okay in the first 20 minutes of the Everton game. I wouldn't say we were brilliant. I'd say we were pretty good. You know, okay to half decent. But you know, the rest of that Everton game, we was getting absolutely smashed, Aaron. What game were you watching? Was you watching last year?
I was just about to say, what fucking game were you watching?
It was look, I'm not defending the performance. It was disappointing. We were up against a really mediocre Everton side, and it's a game that we should have gone and won.
The last 9 games.
But we've just lost to a screamer in the top corner 5 minutes into injury time. You know, it wasn't. This game was ours, and we sat back and we were inexperienced, and we let them come on and on and on.
Third time we'd let him take that shot on. Third time we'd let him take the same fucking shot on.
It wasn't just that. Even
no, you go, Mike. You go.
No, I was just about to say, even though that scream in the last 90th minute, yeah, it was a great goal by Damian Grayley, a hell of a goal. But it wasn't for the fact that we wasn't getting, you know, it just didn't come from nowhere. We was getting pressured throughout that game. You know, we were really lucky in the sense of a couple of them goals were offside. It would have been a 4-1. You know, we was getting
it would have been. You know, it would have been a 4-1 every time we went behind or close. We looked like we were going to go up the other end and score. Yeah, I mean, right at the end, we went 2-1 down with 3 minutes to go, and Aubameyang misses a sitter. All right, at the end of the game.
And by the way.
Sorry? Yeah, I'm talking about after. Yeah. So when they scored, we went up the other end, we should have scored. When they got their winner, we went up the end and we should have scored. The issues are the same issues that we're talking about week after week. I said in the last time we did a podcast that number one on the January shopping list has got to be a striker because we're playing with 10 men and with Thomas Partey in the middle. I've been asking for weeks, is he all that? I've made up my mind. No, he's fucking useless. Okay. Now, I've been telling you that for a year since we got him, and I hope that he gets better. But he hasn't shown anything. There's the man who's giving the ball away in the middle of the park. If Xhaka was doing that or El Neni was doing that, you'd not be screaming about how terrible they are. But it's taken you a year. I
haven't got to the part where I need to get on Partey yet, to be fair.
Yeah, where I get on Partey, where I get on Xhaka, where I get on.
What did Xhaka do? First game in 3 months. First game in 3 months. And I tell you what, for the first hour, he was the best of the two midfielders by far.
Darren, the best. I didn't even fucking jump. It's not about the fucking performance. It's about the message it sends to the team from the manager. Ainsley Maitland-Niles, man of the match, back-to-back games, fucked out of the squad. Sambi Lokonga, young kid, I would argue has been our best midfielder this year, has outperformed Thomas Partey. Gets bummed against fucking... Yeah, then comes back and he's man of the match. No, let me finish there. He's man of the match against Newcastle.
8 games in the next 21 days. 8 games. Yeah, we've got to rotate this. We had to bring.
You could have brought Xhaka on off the bench. You could have started Lokonga. You could have given Xhaka the 60 minutes. My issue with Xhaka isn't around Xhaka's specific performance because the entire team's performance was so bad. And I'll give you the word, Darren, the reason why everyone is fucking blowing up. Or there's been people blowing up all season, Darren. And I put those people to one side, right? Because they want Arteta out. And they I think there is a masochistic element to the Arsenal fan base at the moment, to a large
and you're joining
they almost want. I'm not fucking enjoying it, Darren. Does this face
you are joining it? You are joining that masochistic movement.
No. I'm not joining it, Darren. I am smart enough and I am a good enough fan and I am tactically aware enough that I can have a look at what's happening and see a team of people, see 11 players out there who don't fucking deserve what they're getting at the moment from this manager. And here's what fucks me off the most about it, Darren. Here's what fucks me off the most about it. He ran out of fucking balls. He's run out of bottle. He's a fucking coward. I'm going to take a line from Manny's book. He's a coward. You know why? Because in the last 2 fucking games, we looked dead like the 2020 Arsenal, which we just spent the first third of the season moving away from. We spent the first third of the season moving to a more athletic, more progressive, more ball-carrying model with players like Sambi Lokonga and Ainsley Maitland-Niles. And as soon as we are given the option, we go straight back to this centre midfield, pulling into fucking left back three, KT going running up the fucking pitch, completely disconnected. El Neni back in the fucking team. Granit Xhaka back in the team. Don't even get me started on the fact that why in the fuck would a guy who is immobile when he's fit, who's been out for 3 months with a lower leg injury, meaning that his physical running time is heavily reduced. Why the fuck would you play that guy for 90 minutes on a yellow card when he's blowing out of his ass and he can't tactical foul? That isn't like, oh, he's tried to do something there. That makes no fucking sense. And that's why Arsenal fans are fucking enraged. They're fucking enraged by it. I don't care about the Eddie Nketiah sub. Everyone losing about the Eddie Nketiah sub. Fuck Pepe. He's dead. He has clearly stopped showing whatever he needs to show in training. And Arteta says over and over and over again, Eddie shows up every day and does it. Eddie Nketiah, if 2 of the 4 fucking big chances he pulls off come off, he's fucking man of the match and the saviour. 2 big chances created for Odegaard, a big chance created for Aubameyang, and he fluffs his fucking lines on his header. So I'm not buying into that crap, Darren. But the regression, the feeling that you're being fucking snapped back into a reality that we already dealt with once. We already dealt with it for all of last season. And the fact that most of us didn't mind so much that we lost to Man U, right? Because we were in it, right? We were in it, we were around it. There were 2 average teams. But most of us said, whatever happens this season, we cannot lose to the teams around us, right? Wolves, Tottenham, Leicester, West Ham, Aston Villa.
We've beaten Tottenham and Leicester, yeah.
Under new fucking managers. Managers have been fucking sacked.
Oh, hang on. You can't just give one statement. You can't just give one statement and give an example. And then in that example, you make 2 errors and then say, oh, well, I'm tired. I'm making mistakes. I'm stupid. Yeah. You can't say we've got to beat the teams around us when we've beaten Everton. Sorry, we lost to Everton, but we've beaten Tottenham and we've beaten Leicester City, And
you know what? We beat Tottenham and Leicester playing progressive athletic fucking football where it wasn't all coming off for us and our strikers weren't playing well, but we could at least walk out of there and look at it and say, oh, that's nice. That's different. And then what do we look at in this game, Darren? Why is everyone so fucking pissed off? Regression, and fucking cowardice from Mikel Arteta.
I think, I sort of agree with that. And I think, like you say, I was about to say the same about we beat Tottenham and beat Leicester. So, there is that. But I think it's not the way, it's the manner we've lost to Everton. I think it's the manner that we played against Everton. I'm not on the, last year I would have been all over it about Mikel Arteta out. I would have been all over that because I was in a bloody stressed out state anyway last season. But this season, no, I'm the same as, I've taken a step back. I look at things a lot differently now, similar to what Max is like now. It's right. We were looking like a proper athletic team. You could see that progression and you could see that happening game after game after game. You can see the ideas, you can see things moving and you can see what's trying to be created with the team. But then it's like with this game, with the Man U game, okay, we were in it. And if it wasn't for Ronaldo and what's his name? I can't remember the other lad's name now. The other Portuguese guy that's there, Fernandes, is it?
Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah, Bruno Fernandes. If it weren't for them two, we probably might have either drawn or won that game. It took 2 class players to do that, and that's the difference between Arsenal and Man U at the moment. Is they've got 2 really good players in their team, which we haven't really got. So, like you say, Darren, you can brush that aside a little bit. Max said, you can brush that aside a little. You was in it. You was, it could have gone either way. With the Everton game, it's the manner that we played. It's the way that things are gone about. So I can see why all these Arteta out and, the big Arteta out people that I get, they're jumping on it. I can see why. But, you got to look at the thing is like with the Man U game, he says, we didn't have Lokonga playing in the midfield. He brought El Neni. And his reasoning behind saying bringing in El Neni in, he played well last season. It's like, what the fuck has last season got to do with how well he plays today? That was like a year ago or how many months ago before. You can't just swap someone just because he played well there last season. That's pathetic. You can't use that excuse. And then again, it's like, yes, Xhaka's fit, and I agree with Max. Okay, play him. If you want to play him, play him. But like you say, you could see him blowing out of his ass. He made a mistake that led to the goal.
As soon as he was on a yellow, yellow scummy, I was screaming at the TV. I'm like, he's now cooked.
Get him off.
He's going to get run past and he did. He got run past 3 or 4 times. And that's the thing that I think so many Arsenal fans, they just can't countenance. They can't watch it and deal with it. They're like, I don't understand. I don't understand why you'd bring back Kieran Tierney and Granit Xhaka in the same game. I don't get why because it completely.
I understand with Kieran Tierney because he has been injured, but he's also been on the bench for the last few games, so he is fit and ready to play. So you can understand a bit with Kieran Tierney because
combinations for me.
Like Darren said, I think we've played 3 games in the last 10 days. 10, 11 days, there's been 3 games. So you're going to get some, you're going to get a bit mixed. It's going to get mixed up a bit. Some players aren't going to be playing, some players are. Because it's the way it is.
And
but Mike, bringing in Xhaka on is just come back. Okay, yeah, give him the 60 minutes. Well, give him the 60 minutes. Don't give him the 90. This guy's come, like Max said earlier, he's come back from a massive injury that's had him out for 3 months. Okay, yeah, he's done really well to get back to where he is now, to be able to play the game. But you can't seriously think that Xhaka's going to make a difference in a game where you need to be winning these types of games. Against the big 3 teams like Chelsea, Man City, and Liverpool, you can accept defeats. You can accept them more because you're not on that level. We're nowhere near the level that them 3 teams are on. But when you look at Everton, like you said earlier, Darren, we're on a similar level to Everton. We wasn't in a similar level playing that game. That game was awful. It was such a bad game. And I just don't understand it. And with the substitutions made in the game as well, I was questioning it. With Eddie Nketiah, okay, he probably proved a lot of people wrong. I questioned the substitution because I thought, well, if you're bringing someone on to come on as a winger, why aren't you bringing Pepe on? He's done nothing wrong, really. He was out, our top assister and top scorer last season. And he's not played, he's hardly played a game this season. It's like, why has he not played a game? Is it something in training? Is it, as he said something to Arteta, that's to piss him off? I don't know. But you can't just, we're seeing exactly what happened with, we're seeing it with Torreira, we're seeing it with Guendouzi. As soon as something's been done or he's not done something properly or towards Mikel Arteta, the door's been shut on him. See you later. Off you go. But why bench him?
Old golden bollocks Scunny, and I fucking said this on the pod, 4 weeks ago? I asked the question. I said, does Granit Xhaka walk straight back into this team regardless of form?
Well, obviously he
does. Yeah, and clearly he does. And can I just say this, right? Did we lose the game because of Granit Xhaka?
No.
No. Right?
No, it wasn't just because of Granit Xhaka.
We lost the game because of multiple factors and failures across the pitch. But like I said at the start, for me, it's about the message that you send, throughout your young squad, these kids, these grafters. And I get it. And Darren, at no point in any of my tweets or any of my conversations have I used the words Arteta out. Right? I've never said it. Never said Arteta out. Didn't jump on the internet and start saying Arteta out. I pointed out the failures that I had seen and the things that I dislike and how it's making me react. I also said online that Arteta's here until the end of the season. So jumping up and down and saying Mikel Arteta out online is daft, right? I don't think there's someone else in there. I don't think that he's necessarily got all of the pieces that he wants. But even without the pieces that he wants, there is a certain expectation that I have of him to be able to see things in the game that the fans can see. Like things I don't get right. So Aubameyang's your captain. I get that, right? He's out of form. You pulled him out of the team to chin him. I get that. But you're playing like fucking shit. Alexander Lacazette has done absolutely nothing, and you give him 7 minutes. And yeah, he gets one chance, cold, and misses the goal. Like, how's that a way to build a guy's confidence? How's that a way to say, I'm going to build you up? You spent 3 months not pulling him out of the team, and then you pull him out of the team with 7 minutes to go. You go, oh, go on, go fucking win it for us, and wonder why he's not at the races. There's just so much stuff that makes so very, very little sense for me. And
It was a
Darren,
poor take for the goal, though, to be honest with you. It was more like a pass back rather than a body shot.
yeah, just awful. But of a guy who's really out of it. I read an interesting thing, Darren. I wanted your opinion on it, and it was about why it is that the young kids are carrying this team, and that your older statesmen, your better players, your guys who are meant to be the leaders in the team, are all falling away under Arteta. Aubameyang's fallen away. Lacazette has fallen away. Pepe, people don't realize Pepe's fucking 27. He's fallen away. Partey. Darren, you've been harping on about fucking Thomas Partey not being good enough. And we've all been saying, oh, no, he does this, he does this, he does that. Mate, for me, Partey needs dropped. He needs dropped out of the fucking team and to go back and relearn whatever the fuck he's meant to do. Darren, if you're going to try and come in with not positivity, but anti-negativity, there needs to be an argument for that anti-negativity other than, we have a commitment to Arsenal as fans and we have a commitment to Arsenal as supporters. There has to be an argument to say, or at least to counter why these things are happening.
Okay. You two finished with your ranting? Have you finished with your moaning?
I don't think we ranted at all, Scunny. I thought we were quite intellectually intelligent, well-spoken young men.
I thought we was. Considering what we've seen, yeah, I don't think we've ranted.
Yeah.
I look at that team, and it was possibly the most disappointing performance of the season, or the most disappointing match of the season, because we've been expected to get beat by the top three, and we got beat resoundingly. Yeah, you remember we've just been thumped by Liverpool. Confidence is low. We go up to Old Trafford. We think we're going to do something, and we get beat on a close game. Confidence continues to go low. What do you want to do? Go to Everton, where the manager's about to get sacked, where they came out of the blocks quicker than us. They tried to kick lumps out of us for the first 15, 20 minutes.
True.
And our team, the youngsters in our team, didn't know how to handle that. Tomiyasu gets stamped in the face. Does he roll around holding his face and getting the fella sent off? No, he gets up and runs down the pitch. Inexperience. I look at that team and I look at Ramsdale, Tierney and Tavares, Tomiyasu, White, Gabriel have all had very good seasons. White's got better week by week. Gabriel's been far better than he was last year. We've got really good alternatives at left wing. And Tomiyasu's been a revelation for me at right back. We've got Smith Rowe and Saka. Between the two of them have been holding this team together. And Saka hasn't had great form this season, but everything that we've done that's been good has generally come through him. Emil Smith Rowe has contributed with 100% effort, and he has scored, 4 times in the Premier League? 4 out of the last 6 games, I think he scored. They're all good things. They're all good things, and those players need some protection. I thought Ødegaard had a good game as well. He was very busy, involved in everything. So you take them, I think that's 9 of the 11 players didn't actually, or 8 of the 11 players, Smith Rowe wasn't playing, didn't actually have terrible games. No real mistakes, just let down by 2/3 big players. Thomas Partey in the middle is meant to be our midfield general. Haven't seen it yet. I think if El Neni or Ainsley Maitland-Niles had been in that side, or the pair of them, I don't think we would have lost that game. Every time we tried to get the ball upfield, Partey, or every other time he gave the ball away. Just simple passes, just gave the ball away, and it comes back onto us. I absolutely think, it's a bump in the road. We're lucky we've got a good, winnable home game at the weekend, and we will win that. We will win it well, and hopefully people will start to realise this is a young side, that there's going to be bumps in the road. It wasn't a disastrous performance. We didn't get spanked 5-0. We were in that game all the way through. It was a lack of game management that caused us to throw that match away. There's something missing in this side, that when we're 1-0 up, it stops us actually, when we're 1-0 up, going up and trying to kill the game. There's something with that mentality where we're so nervous, we're up front, that we now sit back and we'll defend. And that didn't work. It hasn't worked. And I can sense Arteta's frustration with that. When he talks about the game, he talks about the players. When we're 1-0 up, the decision-making was wrong. And I just think Thomas Partey in the middle of the park was so negative and so terrible with his distribution of the football that the ball just kept coming back and back and back. And I think he didn't take Xhaka off, because I'm sure he would have loved to after 60, 65 minutes, like he did with Kieran Tierney, but he couldn't take Partey off as well. Partey was the one I think he wanted to bring off. I think that was the issue. He wasn't brave enough, Arteta, to make the decision to take Thomas Partey off. And Aubameyang is now like playing with 10 men, and with Thomas Partey, it's like playing with 9 men. We played that game with 9 men.
Playing Lacazette up top didn't, for all of the people saying, oh, play Lacazette up top, play Lacazette up top. But Toby and I were talking about this, and we were saying Lacazette looks like he's moved into that plus 30-year-old body chemistry now. It looks like he's made that move. Aubameyang not so much. Like, he might lose a yard or two, but Lacazette looks thicker. He looks older. He looks bulkier. He doesn't look the way he looked. I was looking back through his first 6 months with us before Aubameyang came in. He was a lot slighter, a lot faster off the mark. He was a lot fucking dartier, and now he just seems to run in straight cumbersome lines, and not having a go at him.
But this is the issue, Max. I don't want to just talk over. This is the issue. This is what I said in the last podcast we did and the one before that number one on the shopping list has to be a striker that fits in with the style of play that he's trying to play. Lacazette was Arsenal's player of the season, 5 years ago, in an Arsenal team that used to press, and I don't mean press as in like the Klopp type press, but we would be dominant in most of our games against teams. They would park the bus and we would crowd the areas, and Lacazette, with his strength, would force himself to get into the ball and thump a ball into the back of the net. That was his style. Aubameyang, who's never been a great finisher, in my opinion, has never been a great finisher, but his speed, his awareness, and the runs that he makes were all so good that he got in front of goal and scored a lot of goals. Those two players now, Lacazette is not playing that. Lacazette is not a player that holds the ball up well enough. So his game's sort of gone. He's isolated. Aubameyang now, he's doing nothing. He's lost complete confidence in front of goal. Complete. If you look at his last 2 attempts at goal, he's hit the post from 3 yards out and he's missed a sitter from 10 yards out. He's so lacking in confidence, but he brings absolutely nothing to that team when he's in it. If he's not scoring goals, he brings nothing. And Lacazette brings very little. Those are the two that really need to be replaced. And Thomas Partey needs to find some form.
There is an issue with isolating the strikers. I still stand by my argument from a few weeks ago that I think that as long
Max,
as
I agree. Sorry, let me just say that. So I agree. So what do we need to link the attack with the midfield, to link the defence to the attack?
I don't think it's player-based, because I'm looking at Thomas Partey, who, if I'm looking at players in form, right, or players playing to their, at least the standard, their median standard. I'm looking at Thomas Partey. I'm looking at Lokonga or AMN or Granit Xhaka. You're looking at ESR or Erdegaard. I don't look at our wingers and all of a sudden start thinking, oh, our wingers are really poor. I don't look at our wing backs and think, oh, our wing backs are really poor. I don't look at the distribution from the keeper and think that that's poor. I don't look at the distribution from the centre backs and think that's poor. And a lot of this, I think, as people start to become more confident in our squad and more confident in the types of players that we're seeing, I think it's one of the reasons why the microscope snaps back onto the manager so fast, Darren. Because I'm not looking at previous Arsenal teams I would look at and I would say, I don't like that player. I don't like that player. I don't like that guy. I want a new guy there. I had issues with Bellerin.
Well, that's you're making my point, Max. There is 7 or 8 really good players, young players, who we hope over the next 18 months will get a lot better. but we have got a core of 8 or 9 players that we like. The issue that we have is we have no striker. If you look at how Liverpool play, they can fire the ball into Salah or Firmino, much higher quality players. I'm not saying they're not, but you can fire a ball into Salah and Firmino, and they hold that ball up, they control that ball until players can get down the wing and support them. Yeah, if you look at, the same with Manchester City, even Tottenham with Kane, they've got players that they can fire the ball into, and they're good enough and strong enough to hold that ball up and
Darren,
give that 5-10 seconds.
Button, Darren, if it's a magic button,
it's not a magic button,
and it's one player. If it's a magic button and it's one player, and Arteta's game plan is completely fucking falling apart because he doesn't have one specific player, I think it solidifies the argument that he is not dynamic enough to be a manager at the top level. If he's got one fucking way of playing, if this cunt is a deep dick missionary and that is his only way of reaching fucking climax, then he needs to find some new positions. And this is the issue. If you keep saying, well, it's just this player, and then we just need this player.
No, but we are in a building process. This is a process. At the start of the season, we all agreed this is a project. This is a project. We have decided that throwing money at the project, 70 million on Pepe, these were mistakes. Throwing 400 grand a week contract to Ozil, this was a mistake. We've gone through that. We went through 4 or 5 years of real mismanagement, and now there is a plan. You can't buy all of your players at once, but he will be looking for a striker in January, somebody who can hold the ball up and bring this team together. It's not one player. Thomas Partey, if you had him playing well, results would be a lot better. He plays whenever he's fit, and he isn't justifying that performance. I hope he gets better. But the forward line is where our issue is. Martinelli doesn't hold the ball up well. Lacazette doesn't hold the ball up well. Aubameyang. In fact, if we were playing this on FIFA, if there was a category for holding the ball up, which I can't remember if there is or there isn't, but they would be scoring 2s and 3s because they're not very good at that. And that is the start. We keep saying every week on this, there is a disconnect, there is a gap between our midfield and our forwards. We're creating less chances than most sides in the Premier League. We're scoring less goals than most sides in the Premier League. This is because that's where the disconnect is. We haven't got a central midfielder who's controlling the game of football, and we haven't got a striker that's good enough at this level to hold the ball up and bring other players into play.
Scunny, tiebreaker,
yeah,
come in. Break up me and Darren, please. I'm going to come through the camera and slap him.
I don't know about breaking it up, but I just don't think, after looking at it all and everything else, yes, it'd be nice to have a new striker and everything, yeah. And I agree, we do need a new striker, but I don't think that's going to make a lot of difference to the way we play. I honestly...
so what fixes it for you then, Scully? Let me ask you the question.
The thing is, I think we do need more than a striker. We do need a decent, really good central midfielder to go with that as well.
But we just bought one. What do we do? Well,
Lokonga's not the finished article. We need someone towards that finished article.
We just
to be a really
someone
good...
for 50 million. We can't just keep doing that. What do we do? Put him.
Oh, we didn't
on
buy
the bench for the
Partey.
next...
We didn't buy Partey, did we? We bought him.
No. What I'm saying is that if we go back to the argument that we had a year, 18 months ago, where we need a central midfielder, and there was Aor and Partey. Aor, is that what you call him? Aor, the other that fella.
Aola wouldn't have fucking fixed this.
And Partey. And we needed to do that. So we spent the 50 million that we had available. We haven't got money coming in. We're not even in fucking Europe at the moment.
I know that.
So we spent
I'm just saying, I think it's going to take a lot more than just a striker to fix us. I think I agree with Max. I think a lot of things that need to change and I think the thing is Arteta needs to change. He needs to change his dynamic. He needs to change his tactics. He needs to try and change the way he thinks.
He needs to take it from behind, Scunny.
Yeah. Pretty much, yeah. But that's what I mean. He just needs to change the way he thinks. He can't, you can't stick to one game plan for every single match. And it just seems to be the game plan is always the same in every single match. Smash them in the first 20 minutes, get a goal if you can, and then defend. And that doesn't work. We haven't got a good enough team to do that, and it's proven that. Our defense has improved since last season, I'll admit it has. But it's still rocky. How many goals have we shipped in so far this season? I think it's about 21 goals we've shipped in this season.
Yeah, but take away the goals that were scored by the top three in the table, and
Well,
it's not that bad. Okay, we got stuffed by those. We
But
got
then look
stuffed.
at
It
our-
was
look at-
embarrassing.
yeah, but it's a case of obviously, yeah, okay, you can take them goals away, but then you can take them away. You can even say, oh, if we only got, but we shouldn't be shipping that many goals against the top teams, though. One or two, you can agree with a bit better. You can handle that a lot more. But when you're shipping 5, when you're shipping 4, when you're shipping 3, and there's still no fight to go forward,
And I think
that's a
our
harder
defense-
thing to take.
And I think our defense has been bailing us out this year. A
Yeah.
lot of good last ditch tackles, a lot of blocks, a lot of
Yeah.
So
and in
isn't this a
sense-
good thing? You
Well,
it's a good
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
You're
it's a
coming
good
up
thing. No,
within
what I'm saying,
yourselves.
I'm not dissing it. I'm just saying we're still shipping a lot of goals, but
I'm still
you know,
shipping a lot
it's
of
not
chances.
just down
Johnny,
to the defense; it's the
interesting
tactics that
stat.
go to it.
The chances created against us this season are as high as what they were last season. So chances against. It's just our
Right, well-
conceded goals are down, which means we scramble better, which means we get to the second ball faster. Tommy Arsu has made us much
Does
I
that mean that
was really
Arteta's-
impressed with Ben
does
White
that
in
mean-
the Everton game. I was really impressed with Ben White. I could see him. He was pretty much throwing himself in front of the shots, which I like. I like to see that. And I'm not dissing our defense. I'm the one thing I'm getting at is it's the tactics and the way we play. He has one setup and one setup alone. And that's my issue at the moment. It's exactly the same setup against every single team. Go for it in the first 20, 25 minutes. Push it to half an hour if you can. And then after that, sit back and defend for the rest of the time. You can't do that in games.
Okay,
If
I've got a
you're
good
on the up,
question.
like if you look at the Man U game, we scored that goal. Okay, with that freakish goal, we scored that. Yeah, okay, fair enough. That come from that that was a bit of a freakish goal, but we was on top. We was absolutely on top of United at that point. We should have been going for more. We should have been going for the next goal and then the goal after that. If that
Scotty,
came,
we did the
you should have
same
been
thing
going for that.
against
The problem
Tottenham
is
and
with that
Leicester.
is we got that goal and we sat back. I don't
Same thing
understand
against
that.
Tottenham and Leicester, Scunny.
Yeah.
We were only good against Tottenham for 30 minutes of that game. It was 2 15-minute spells either side of the half. Leicester were better than us for 70 minutes of that game. We just blitzed them in the first 20 and then defended our asses off. So I got a really simple question that I'll go to both of you. Sitting back and defending after one goal. Is it being driven by the players or is it being driven by the manager? Because the manager would have you believe in his post-match press conferences that he is not telling them to do that. I feel like he must have set them up in a way that that's what they're doing, because you can't just lose confidence like that. So players or manager, boys, who's causing the deep sit?
It's the coaching, isn't it? So it's got to come from the manager. It's his tactics. He's the one telling them how to play in the game. Like you say, you can't expect. Maybe in 1 or 2 games you could blame players, but throughout the season so far, you can't blame the players for that. It's the same thing game after game.
You see, I've played football all my life. Once you cross the line, whoever's on the sidelines got no fucking way you can change really or affect what's going on. It's about the players. We've had some good managers, George Graham, Arsene Wenger. Wenger used to say, you can only... did you ever see Wenger up on the sideline berating? He didn't. He used to sit there. Wenger's style, when they used to come in at half time, he would sit and wait for 10 minutes until they all quietened down before he would get his message over. We are always better in the first 15 minutes of the second half after Arteta has had a chance to say something to these players. What you've got to realise is these are young players that they go 1-0 away from home and they do get a bit nervous. They do get a bit panicky because we haven't got still in this team huge leaders who know how to drive that team forward. That's why he's brought Xhaka back, because Xhaka, from every manager that's managed him, realises that he's an absolute leader on the pitch. And he's on his own. Partey looks like he's a scared individual. Ben White, he's not captain material yet. Gabriel is not captain material yet. We've got a lot of players that are very young. And, I listened to you say that the players, the defence is good. Scunny, you went offline early when I was just saying Ramsdale, Tomiyasu, Tierney Tavares, Gabriel White have all played really well this season. I was critical of White 6 weeks ago. He's got better incrementally week by week. He's starting to look like a really decent player. Gabriel is nothing like the player we had last year. I used to be so nervous every time he had the ball. He looks outstanding this year. Tierney and Tavares, either one of them who's played, Tierney had a bad run of form. Tavares has come in and played exceptionally well, but with some mistakes because he's a young kid. And Tomiyasu is probably the best player in the club at the moment, alongside the goalkeeper. The defence has got better. Every good manager starts with a good defence. Klopp did it at Liverpool. This is the way, George Graham did it at Arsenal. Wenger had, the back four. That was where our success came from. Let's give him some credit for what we have got right.
Like I said to you, I'm not berating the defence at all. I'm not having a go at the defence. What I'm saying is it's down to the way, the style and the way we play. They're not giving the defence a chance. That's the problem I have. We're giving the defense no chance. If you're playing on the back foot for the majority of the game, you're not giving the defense a chance. That you constantly, they're under pressure constantly.
That's my point.
Goals are going to happen when you're constantly under pressure.
Aubameyang, Lacazette.
Well, I don't like Aubameyang anyway. I think he should. I think he should leave. But I'm just saying,
it's the manager. What I'm hearing is it's the manager. When Aubameyang, Lacazette,
no, it's not.
No,
what I'm saying is a lot of it's down to the tactics. The way I see it, it's down to tactics. It's the way we're set up to play. It just seems like you could blame the play. I can blame the players to a certain extent. I'm not just blaming Arteta for a lot of things. The players have to take some flack. Especially the senior players do have to take a lot of flack from how we are at the minute. Like Aubameyang's got to take his flack. Lacazette's got to take his. I think Xhaka's got to take his to a certain extent. Okay, he hasn't played for 3 months, but he's still got to take some flack for some things. And
as well. He was terrible. He was lying at home with his foot up and he was watching fucking Coronation
Street. But I'm just saying
our win record without him went through the fucking roof. So.
Yeah, well, there is that, you see. But, he's
not
looking at a
Xhaka fan.
Yeah, but I'm just saying for last season, he's got to take the flack for a lot of things that happened last season.
I get what you're saying, Scunny. It's not just about nowness. Some of these guys have been in the club for extended periods of time.
Yeah.
So if anyone can look at it in the state of nowness and say, well, in this game, he didn't fucking cost us anything. But historically, we're looking back through him. It's like I said about as soon as he's on a yellow and he can't tactical foul. That's a failure of that player, regardless of what he brings on the pitch. As
when you've got a front line of Pepe, Aubameyang, Lacazette, Martinelli, and Thomas Partey in midfield, when every time they get the ball, they lose it and it comes back, that's where the pressure goes on the defence. We played, and let's not lose sight of this. I think for about the first half an hour in the Everton game, they were trying to kick lumps out of us. They were throwing in tackles. Yeah, they were really up for it. They were over the top. It was that idiot of a referee, and we were getting kicked. We were getting kicked to pieces. But for a good half an hour, I commented. I was watching it with my mate Paul. I go to the games with. I drove over, watched the game with him, and half an hour in, I remember saying, "Do you know what? We're playing well. We're playing out well from the press. We're playing out. It was all going well until it got to the front. And when it gets to the front, Aubameyang would lose the ball instantly. If he was on, Lacazette would lose the ball. We haven't got players that are good enough to hold the ball and bring the players up the pitch. It's football. If we sat deeper and deeper and deeper because we didn't have a release valve." Yeah, Ødegaard did very well, I thought, for keeping the ball, but nobody else. We also didn't have Emil Smith-Rowe in this game, and you can't just rely on one player. That would be stupid. But you realise how good he is now at finding space and holding the ball up and just linking the play with somebody else. We didn't have him. So there's reasons. The biggest frustration of the game on Monday night is that we are better than Everton, and we didn't play better than Everton, and we didn't win the game.
Yes. And I think we can keep going around the traps, right? Because this is what Arsenal fans do. It's the players, it's the manager. It's the players, it's the manager. It's the players, it's the manager. It's the ownership. It's the player, it's the manager. It's the ownership. It's the board. It's the players, it's the manager. It's the owner. It's the board. It's Ed. We should bring
Twitter is awful at the minute. It's absolutely
it's
awful.
Just around. But the one thing I will say, right, as the priest of Arsenal, right, is I do not absolve Arteta of all of his sins. He can't go away, Darren, say fucking 7 Hail Marys and rub his fucking rosemary bollocks, right? And be absolved by
drinking
fucking God himself. I'm just saying.
If Arteta is going to make it as a Premier League manager, he will look at performances like the one on Monday night and the one against Manchester United and try to work out where his mistakes were, and he will improve. If he doesn't, he isn't the manager for Arsenal. Let's be straight. We don't know. Arsenal, I've said it from day one. It was a strange is the word I've always used. It's a strange appointment. It was a strange appointment. A club as big as Arsenal Football Club employing someone who has absolutely no managerial experience. Very, very strange. However, in his short time I've been there, he has transformed our club with the help of the owners and the board to try and get rid of some of the problems that have been caused over the last 5 years. This is his team he is building now. This is his team.
He finishes 8th, Darren?
I don't believe he will.
Okay. Flash forward, boys, and there's two hypotheticals on the table. One of them is he gets 5th, and all of these conversations, everyone Arteta around him, all looks like a cunt. That's what we hope for. And that's what we've said from the start of the season. That's been across everyone on the ArseBros. Our stance has always been, I have doubts. I can't see us getting rid of you until the end of the season regardless, nor do I think that would necessarily be a smart move, an intelligent move. I think that just buys into the Premier League world, the rotisserie chicken that is fucking management. Rotisserie chicken? I don't know what I'm trying to say. Anyway, but
hang on a minute. You were doing spectacles, testicles, wallet, and watch a minute ago. So
yeah, let's just flash forward away from that possible reality, right? That 5th, 6th place possible reality. And let's flash forward to maybe an end of December to the end of the year and Arsenal finishing in the same position they finished last year with a very similar goal difference, with a very similar defensive record, because if you look at it statistically, that is where we are tracking. We're not tracking as great improvements in any area, even though the optics of it, the way it looks, is that we're improving in some senses. Let's flash forward then to that conversation, because I think we can all agree, not a single one of us right here, right now, is saying it's time to go today. None of us are saying that. We've seen both sides of the equation. We're seeing improvement. We see that there's still failures. We're unsure. We always said he had the season. But Darren, end of the season, right? What did we finish last year? Was it 7th or 8th?
8th.
8th. End of the season. Let's say we finish 7th, right? A 1-spot improvement for all of the investment and all of the time and all of the effort. Darren, it's now the end of the season. There are managers available. 7th position with all the money spent. Whatever we do or don't do in January, what's your stance at that point?
Well, I don't think 7th is good enough for Arsenal Football Club. And at the end of the season, I think we will have a better idea whether this team is improving or not. We have improved steadily through this season. Our defence has got better. Players have got better. But the mentality is wrong within that team.
Stick or twist, Darren. 7th spot, end of the season. Stick or twist.
I'm sort of with Darren on this one. You got to look at it. We've got to have this conversation towards the end of the season, I think, to be fair. I'm in the sense of, obviously, if his one place better, I agree with Darren. It's not good enough. It isn't good enough. But where I disagree with Darren is obviously, yes, the team has been playing better, but if he's getting 7th, then yes, I do think he needs to go. I predicted us to be 8th again.
So did
around that 8.
That was the point I was going to bring up. I actually wrote that down before we started. You both said we'd finish 8th. Yeah.
Yeah.
You both said 8th. And we're 4 points. We're almost halfway through the season, and we're 4 points off 4th. Okay, and that's on the back.
We're also 3 points. We're also 3 points off 8th.
Hang on.
So look
and
both
that's
ways
on the
up
back.
and down the table.
That's on the back of 3 consecutive away defeats. Yeah, we're 4 points off 4th, and yet this whole tone of this, you've got to expect, if you're thinking that we're going to finish in 8th, if that was your thought process at the start of the season with his team that we would finish 8th, then you must have expected some bumps along the road. Because if you didn't expect the bumps along the road, then You know, I don't understand your mentality.
Yeah,
I'm
but
the
when
one
I
who
made
should
that
be. I'm the
prediction,
one who should be
Darren,
disappointed because I said we
when I
can
made
make
that
top
prediction,
four.
I hadn't seen Lokonga. I hadn't seen fucking Tomiyasu. I hadn't seen Tavares. So, you know, that's where the disappointment is that's where I thought we were at the start of the season before I'd seen the signings or I'd been
Okay,
impressed by the
so
caliber of
sorry,
the
you
signings.
like the way we're going. You like the way we've improved the squad. You're impressed by Arteta's signings.
Look, the way
Not
I
impressed
see it is
with performance.
yes, okay. I did predict 8th, and I still am maintaining that we're going to finish around that mark. And I will still maintain that because, yes, I do see improvements in certain aspects, but I also see, like Max said there, you know, we're 4 points off 4th. I'm not delusional enough to think that we're going to finish top 4. I don't think we're going to do that. It'll be honest with you, I'll be ecstatic if we did, but I'm not delusional enough to think that we're going to get that. And when I see people at the moment saying we're only 4 points off top 4, you know, like you say, bumps in the road, it's going to happen. We've had bumps in the road. The way I see it is when these bumps in the road come, I want to see a little bit of fight to this bump. I want to see some sort of action from the team, from the manager to put, you know, to say that we've had a good game. Okay, we lost, but we still had a good game. At the minute is when we see some of these bumps in the road along the way, it's just like we're not getting that action. We're not seeing that drive to that mentality to think we've got to go for this. You know, we've got to take the ball by the horns, for instance, and make some kind of effort. There's some of these games where I think to myself, for fuck's sake, just seriously, what the hell are you, what are you playing at?
So, well, the bit I don't understand in that is that this season so far, if we can take away, and maybe I shouldn't say it, but if we can take away the first 3 games of the season when most of our signings weren't available, when we got beaten by Brentford, Manchester City, and Chelsea, yeah, if I can just take those 3 out, because I think once the transfer window finished, things are different. If I look at the results and performances since that day, how many disappointing performances have there been? Everton.
I thought Burnley was a disappointment. I know we won, but I thought it was a disappointing performance.
Norwich we were poor. Burnley we were
Sorry,
poor.
but you're okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah,
So
we
I said,
won, but it was a
I said,
poor
no, but
performance.
I did say what I said. I said results and performances. How many results and performances were bad? So, okay, the performances against Norwich and Burnley weren't very good, but the team did exactly what you're asking him to do against Everton and win a game when we played badly.
I'm not.
Okay?
Yeah, but that's what I mean. That's what I'm saying is like, yes, okay, the performances weren't great, but when we lose, I want to see a performance.
Okay, so
when we lose, I want to see a performance. I don't want to see us rolling over.
Since those opening 3 games of the season, how many times, when you look at the results and the performance, have we been disappointed?
I'm just looking now. I can't remember half the bloody fixtures, to be honest with you.
But
Max, you answer. I'll be back.
For me, if I can think through, I was disappointed that we didn't win at Brighton. I thought that performance was poor. And I was disappointed that we didn't win at Everton. I thought that performance was poor. I thought we were.
I was disappointed. I was also disappointed with the Man United game.
See, I wasn't disappointed at the Man.
I was disappointed I was disappointed, but you know, I understand why we lost because we lost to 2 really good players. But I was also disappointed with the fact.
I thought the Man U game was like a flashback game for me. It wasn't boring. It wasn't.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it wasn't boring or anything like that. But I thought it was.
Enjoyed the.
You know, after the first goal, we was very poor after that first goal. You know, up until they got the equaliser, and then we started playing again. You know, and it's just them in between moments. I thought I was quite poor.
Mike, does this stink to you a little bit of some of the conversations we had in and around Emery during his winning streak, where we were almost looking at players and thinking, are we improving? Are we improving? The results are improving, but the performances weren't improving. And then it all fucking fell apart anyway, because for me, I can taste Emery's dick, right? It's still there. It's just on the meaty part of my palate.
Well, yeah, because if you look at it, the 22 beaten run, it won against great opposition. Not that I can think of. You know, there was no one of note that I can think, wow, we actually went to that side and absolutely smashed them all over the place. You know, it's the same. It's the same thing now. When we see now, you go to a team and you think to yourself, "Okay, we've got a chance at winning this, but we're not going to smash them all over." But at least with the Emery's teams when he was at the club and his team, at least you know we was going to get a goal or two.
We played.
We're not getting
we played
that.
We played some really nice football under Emery. If anything, it's actually the opposite because we never defended well under Emery. We got run past.
No.
We conceded a huge amount of chances per game. I mean, when you look back through some of the players who we've moved on since, you know, you can see the issues there.
So let me just sum up then. So from what I'm listening to you say is that Arteta's improved the defence. You both said that, yeah. He's improved some of the young players. I think that's fairly obvious. When I talk about outside of those first 3 games, which games you've left being disappointed, we've got 1.5.
1.5, no, because I was disappointed in quite a few. I was
we've got
disappointed in a few.
results.
You look at, you know, you didn't give me a chance. I wasn't expecting that question.
No,
but you know, I look back and I think the Crystal
was...
Palace game was quite disappointing. You know, the Liverpool game, okay, it's a top 4 team, but we shouldn't have been losing 4-0. If we've got any, like you say, we've improved and stuff. Yeah, we have improved in some respect, but in the sense of obviously watching what we saw against Everton, we lost 4-0 and we played pretty much the same way.
We're not expecting it. I think you're both expecting us to finish 8th. We can see some improvements. It's a bump in the road. Let's not get hysterical.
It's a pretty fucking sizable bump. There have been other bumps that I've been able to justify.
We lost to an injury time screamer against away at Everton. Never a ground we've done well at.
We gave him 4 fucking opportunities. 4 opportunities to hit that top corner. 2 of them got blocked. Ramsdale fucking saved one, and then he finally fucking dialed it in and smashed it.
Liverpool play. Who were Liverpool playing at the weekend? I watched Liverpool. They won 3-0. The man of the match on the highlights that I saw was their goalkeeper, Alisson. It's not like we're saying, you know, Liverpool were cut open 3 times. I think it was Wolves. They got cut open 3 times, and Alisson made 3 spectacular saves in that game. Nobody talks about it because we just expect him to do that. You can't say, we nearly let in goals, but our goalkeeper saved it. That's what we've got, a fucking great goalkeeper.
No, but the thing is, with the Everton game, it wasn't just about that one time. What thing is going about, what Max is going about Damian Gray is the fact that obviously there was opportunities there for Everton, and 2 of them got called offside. Unfortunately for us, they got called offside, but it was there. You know, you could see it coming. It was going to happen, and yet we still didn't do fuck all about it.
It's going to happen from almost the first kick of the fucking game. Like, they never, ever, ever looked at the races. And the reason why this burns so much, the reason why this hurts so much, is because for so many of us, Darren, the logical part of our brain said we're not competing with the top 4 this year. We may not even be competing with the top 5, but we've got to go and compete with the teams who are around us, who are worse than us, and we just keep fucking giving teams leg up. You know, we keep making them look better than what they are. We make their midfields look better than what they are. We make their fucking play. If you're in a fucking form slump at the moment, Darren, go play Arsenal. Because we'll fucking make you look good. We might make you look shit for 15 minutes and score a goal, but then we'll fucking say, here you go, have the fucking ball, run at us, we'll sit back and we'll defend. Maybe we're so content defending now, Darren. Maybe because it's the only good part of the game that we fucking got. Maybe our guys like, oh, fucking come at us. Maybe we're a fucking Bukkake show, Darren.
Yeah. Worked for Arsenal for about 6 years.
We went out. We beat Newcastle. We beat Newcastle at home. We went to Man United. Went to Man United and we went there and it's like, oh, okay, well, fair enough. I don't feel, I honestly thought I felt these. During this season, I've fought a few times now after that Man City game initially, and when Ben White come back in, and when Gabriel come back in, and Tomiyasu and Tavares and even Tierney at times, I always thought to myself, every time I went to an away game, I thought, I don't think we're going to lose this game. I never went in thinking, oh shit, we're going to get battered here. I never went in feeling like that. So it's been nice to do that. But sorry, I've just digressed a bit. But when you go back to the Newcastle game, we've just beat Newcastle. We went to Man United. We put in you're saying a decent performance. I'm saying a half decent performance against Man United. We got undone by 2 great players. So, like I said to you before, I understand that. I get that. It's something we haven't got. But when you look at Man United, they've been on a really downward spiral. You know, they were getting battered. They drew the game before us, and then before that, they lost about 4 or 5 games on the trot. We went to Man United, we make them look half decent, and the two decent players that haven't really been playing well in Ronaldo and Fernandes look amazing against us. Then we go to Everton thinking, all right, we might get something from here. We need a performance off the back of the Man United game. We need to go in there. We need to go to Everton. We need to go to Goodison Park, and we need to smash them all over the place. They've lost the last 9 games in a row or something around that. And we make them look decent. We make them look like a really, top 5 challenging team. Yeah, it's like, are you serious? We can't keep doing that.
Yeah, not playing the team, playing the fucking badge. Going there and saying, oh, you were good last year. You were decent last season. So we played the fucking badge. We played the badge against Man U. We played the badge against Everton. And regardless of Darren sitting there with that look upon his
trying to make us slip up as well, going, oh well, we've had a good performance against them. Oh, what do you think? What performance did you not like this season? Oh well, trying to make me look like I'm slipping up here. Don't try and do that to me. I've been on ArseBrothers way too long for this shit.
I'm just trying to get some points across that we're not as bad as you say. It was a poor, disappointing, dismal performance on Monday night. There's no getting away from that. But suddenly, the toys are all out the pram. We were happy 2 weeks ago. We were happy. Going into the Manchester United game, we were happy. Yeah, we were confident that there was improvements. And now, as we've lost away at Old Trafford. Most teams do. With that sort of Manchester United team, they're going to win more games than they lose. And Everton was disappointing. But this is a time again. There's lots of good to look at. Our defence is far better than it was last year. We have got 1 or 2, 3 players completely misfiring. Pepe, Aubameyang, Lacazette, Thomas Partey. Get those on form, get those playing. That's what I want to see from Arteta. I don't want to see him sacked. I want to see him get something better out of Thomas Partey.
That's the big job for Arteta now, Darren. That's the big job. That's why
he's done it with lots of players. He's got Ramsdale playing really well.
Big money. You don't get paid the fucking big money to get young players up into the team and get them wanting to kill themselves for the badge, because that's inherent of a young player. They'll take their opportunity. The real big money, Darren, the reason why you get the big dick, right? The reason why you get the fucking long contract is because you get world-class players and you manage both those world-class players, those individual personalities, and you manage the fucking young kids. And if I'm looking at the failure of Arteta this season, it's a failure to manage his big names. It's a failure to get his big names firing. So I'll say what I always say on all of these things, Darren. I hope for the best. I'm not fucking parachuting Ten Hag into the fucking team next week. I get that there is a process. I get that there is improvement. I get that we are building from the back. I get that there are signings that we need to make. I get that there are out of form players. I get that this was expected. I get that we didn't think the team was that good at the start of the season. So any improvement is an upward trajectory. I understand all of those arguments, but I will not fucking absolve Arteta of poor managerial performances. That is not me saying every single performance for the season he has been poor. That is me looking at this game in a vacuum, looking at the performances of the players in a vacuum, looking at the output in a vacuum, the substitutes in a vacuum in this individual game. And in this individual game, he was very, very poor. If he continues down this trajectory, he is going to find himself difficult to re-employ. I will not stand here, though, and start screaming Arteta out, not look at the fact that we are an improved team, not look at the fact that we are better in some ways than what we were last season. But I think the idea of playing FIFA and saying, well, this £65 million player isn't working, so we need to fuck him off and bring in someone else. And that £55 million player isn't working, so we need to fuck him off and bring someone else. And that £80 million player isn't working, so we need to fuck him off and bring someone else in. I actually think that's a real kind of modern football FIFA mentality where you can transfer your way out of trouble when you know that your club is a sustainable model club and there's 180, 170 million pounds of striking talent not firing. I cannot absolve a manager for being unable to get one of those pieces firing. Let alone all three of those pieces not firing, and all not firing at the same fucking time. I think that regardless of what you think of Arsenal and what you think of Arteta, as the manager of Arsenal Football Club, it is a minimum requirement that you would have one of those guys going, one of those guys moving forward. And if it is that it's a failure of midfield, move the pieces around on the fucking chessboard again and find me a fucking answer. Because that performance was fucking awful. And we've got a pretty easy game that we're running into. And I wonder, Darren, are we just going to see that that's our level? Are we just going to see that our level is we're going to go and we're going to win 2-1, we're going to win fucking 1-0, we're going to create 4, 7, 9 fucking chances, and maybe score one of them? Are we so reliant on a 20-year-old Emile Smith-Rowe who scored 70% of our goals? What's he had? Six goals and fucking 3 assists in his last 9 games, right? The one fucking player, So for all of the arguments for and for all of the arguments against, I'm willing to be a Darren and I'm willing to be a Max and I'm willing to be a Mike. I'm willing to be positive about certain elements of the club. I'm willing to be negative about certain elements of the club. I'm willing to call players out. I'm willing to call the coaches out. Tell you who I'm not actually willing to call out at the moment is actually the ownership and Edu. If anything, I'm looking at those guys right now and I'm saying, actually, everything you've done this season so far is quite acceptable. Not one of the signings that they've made since we got away from this Mina Raiola. Well, it wasn't a signing this season. I'm looking at this season's signings. Once we got away from that fucking Mina Raiola garbage, I'm looking at our signings and I'm saying we've been backed in by the owners. The money seems to be there. The signings are good. And one thing that I hope, Darren, is I hope that the idea of this, because we've gone and taken on a very, very young manager, I hope the idea of this is that we're not building a team for this manager. Because if this manager fails, I don't want to be left with a team that is very, very, very one-dimensional. That has to play in one specific way. If we're looking at a modern output, I hope that Edu is building this team with specific.
I hate to stop you, Max, but you've been talking for if Arteta fails, the
next person can take over.
You have been talking for 9 minutes without stopping.
Well, I had a lot to fucking say, champion, and I thought it was much better than my usual stuff, which is like, I wank with my left foot.
Should we leave it on that point?
Yeah, you can do for me. I am going to say much different, to be honest with you. I was going to just add a couple of points, but I think Max has said it all.
Yeah, I've got to go. I've got a flight to catch. I'm going on holiday.
I was going to Spain.
Yeah, I'm going to.
He's going to drink some sangria, mate.
I'm going to meet the police, and I'm going back to the Costa Blanca Arsenal Supporters Club, and I hope they're a lot more positive than you two miserable bastards. I'll see you all next week.
He's going to be jugging on sangria. That's what he's going to be doing.
He's going to be sucking on sangria that's been stirred with Mikel Arteta's cock. Good night.
This is an ArseBrothers production. Follow us on Twitter @TheArseBrothers. Get all our content on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, and SoundCloud @ArseBros. And if you like what you hear, don't forget to smash that subscribe button.